Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to an episode of Career Mode. Now, before I go on and talk about the actual gameplay on the screen, I do just want to say a huge thank you for all of the support recently. It has truly been amazing. The likes, the comments, everything has just been off the chain, and I really just want to say a big thank you to everyone who kind of just tunes in every day to watch the series. I know it's been very much the same, and I'm going to be bringing some new stuff to the channel soon, but yeah, I just want to say a huge thanks to those of you who stuck by it and really shown their support over the time. But anyways, enough of that jibber jabber, and let's get into this as we have international friendlies. Probably, one of the downsides to Ultimate Team at the moment. I really, it's not a part that I genuinely enjoy at all, because international friendlies, they literally have no meaning to for me anyways. But it was against Bulgaria. It was an away game as well, and we actually get it ends up being 1-1. It was two really quite late goals, one in the 81st and one in the 82nd minute, and yeah, so obviously an international friendly to me, it doesn't mean too much. But what we did have coming up was the Merseyside derby, as well as a very important Champions League fixture against PSG. So this first Merseyside derby, it was going to be the first one for Jovetic, as well as first one for Ter Stegen, and any of the, I think, yeah, that's all I've signed so far. Massi as well, Alberto Massi, one of the signings we made back in the summer, is actually off injury. He was out for an absolute age, but now he should be coming off very shortly. I don't think he's going to be available for this game, but he should be available in the very near future. So a quick little change up of the team at the moment, and Coutinho there, 83 rated. As you can see, Jovetic already 87 rated, and I honestly think he is just gonna just grow like an animal. I think he's really gonna grow a lot faster than the likes of Sturridge, just because Jovetic has that quality in him. But anyways, this game against Merseyside actually got off to a pretty good start. We were attacking from very early on, and we actually get a stunning goal there from Agger in the 3rd minute, and those are the goals that I like to see, because we don't tend to do that well when it comes to scoring corners. To see the likes of Agger and sometimes even Ogbonna just scoring from corners really kind of gives me some faith, but we get really unlucky there. Fellaini is such a dangerous player to, not mark tightly in the box, because aerially he is so strong. Unfortunately for us, he headed it, in a decent direction, but it was a deflection that caused it to go in, and those sort of things will be slightly unlucky for you guys. So, these things happen. You just kind of deal with it and move on. But this Everton game wasn't looking too good. Things just weren't playing well. Like I said, my players hate the rain. I think I need to move to Spain or something, because they seem to lose brain cells by the second every time they play in the rain, slipping and sliding, not marking players, that sort of thing. So yeah, another fantastic thing I might just add about signing Jovetic is at last we have someone who has the ability to take free kicks. Jovetic, although he's not an amazing free kick taker, he is a really solid one, and he will do the job, because before that, the only real player that we had that was capable of doing it might have been Mvia, and even then that was pushing the boat a little bit. So now Jovetic is in the squad. It's always important that you have someone that can take penalties, free kicks, things like that, and Jovetic can definitely step up to the mark. Sterling there makes a dash and run through, unfortunately on his left peg, and he just drags it wide. So that was a little bit disappointing. He wasn't able to put that into the back of the net, but I'm well aware that a player of Sterling's caliber isn't yet capable of finishing producing that final ball. But that's very much unlike Zaha. Zaha is fantastic at cutting in onto his right foot and just smashing them into the far netting. And he's done that a few times for me now. If you guys have been watching the series for a little bit, you'll have seen that he scored numerous goals like that, where he's kind of, done a bit of a solo run himself and just cut inside and made things happen. That right there is a stunning goal. That is the perfect poacher's goal. To me, that is just a straight up Bootyful goal. I am being serious. Take a look at this. This is a perfect striker goal. He just moves in front of my defender and just slots it into the far netting. That for me was immense from Jelic there, and so a lot of respect for him when they scored that. I was literally, that I don't tend to watch a lot of replays, but for me, I was just like, oh shit, that was just a quality goal. And if anything, it just made me realize, FIFA made that look very realistic. Keeper comes flying out there. I really had to do it to apply the pressure, so it was very much my fault more than anything that they went 3-2 up. A little bit nervous, so I had to make some changes. Decided Zaha would come off for Chamberlain. Also brought on Munain there for Coutinho, just so that the fitness was still strong, and we definitely needed something to change, because if we took a look at the score, we were 3-2 down. But god damn it, Sturridge, what what a saver he is, as he makes it 3-3 there. That saves us from dropping 2 points, and we actually end up coming away with a draw, which is okay. It's a Merseyside derby. It was at home. You know, of course I would have liked to have come away with a win, but you know, a draw after being 3-2 down was pretty impressive. I'm glad that the team managed to pull that off. We got really unlucky with that Fellaini goal as well, but Jelific's goal just trumps anything I'd seen for that game. That was just maybe it wasn't necessarily an amazing goal, but it was just a very realistic goal, I suppose. So props to FIFA for making it look realistic. But we had a big game ahead of us. You know, we had a PSG. PSG has got some quality players on their team, and a team that I really quite fear, to be honest. You know, Ibrahimovic, who is so big and muscly and will just wreck defenses, and you also have the man Lavezzi as well. He's so quick on the wing, so you got to really keep an eye out for him. And like I said, you know, this is a team that I very much feared in the Champions League. But I got to remember, you know, last year I was in the Europa League. I did well in the Europa League, but you know, you play against some good teams, some solid teams, but when you play in the Champions League team, you play against world-class teams that are just on another level. And we'd done such a great job to make it through the group stages. We're now into the round 16, so this is going to be a really important fixture for us. It is the away game, so we want to at least pick up 1 goal, and we want to try and minimize the damage, essentially, because going away to PSG, that was always going to be really tough for me. But if you guys remember correctly, right at the beginning of the season, we actually beat Real Madrid in the Super Cup, I think it's called, and yeah, so we got to really come out fighting, do really well. I decided to play Ulreich in this game, actually, just because I felt I wanted to make sure we minimize the goals that would come in. Obviously, Ter Stegen is a player that I'm going to be playing mainly, but a player like Ulreich, he just has the experience. He's essentially a better keeper still, and I just figured he would be the better man for the job in this particular game. Again, the rain is upon us. The FIFA gods just came and were like, bitch, we are making your players drop brain cells like no other. And unfortunately, that's exactly what happened right now, as PSG, you know, do a great job there of just passing the ball. And like I said, you know, players were just doing weird things when it starts to rain, and he does a great job of getting the ball in. Fortunately, that header was away, but we just didn't shut down their players in time. He gets a little bit too much space, and unfortunately, it was a goal there from Lucas. Admittedly, you know, it was a nice goal. It was a good finish on his left foot as well, but still, that isn't a goal we should be conceding. Just poor pressure, as we just gave them way too much space. And a player of Lucas's caliber, he is just quality, and he will just make you pay 9 out of 10 times for that. But a beautiful ball played through to Sturridge, and this most of the time would have been a really solid goal for him. But I tried to take it onto his left foot, because we all know Sturridge is a left-footed player. So I tried to cut it, you know, drag it onto his left foot and just see if we could get a near post goal. Unfortunately, it didn't work out for me. There's been plenty of times where that sort of thing has worked out for me, but it was just one of those games where it just wasn't happening. Unfortunately, we were 1-0 down, and things were not looking up for us. You know, we had that chance there by Sturridge. He missed that, which is absolutely gutting, but they just kept piling on the pressure. Unfortunately for them, they actually have an injury from Mota there. I felt kind of bad for him, but at the same time, those injuries, if anything, they just helped me out, because I was actually very much on the back foot throughout the majority of this game. But the substitute there makes a dashing run down that wing and really left Ogbonna to mark a winger, when really it should have been my right back that was marking him. Unfortunately, he wasn't there to do the job, and we end up paying the price there, as Ogbonna, you know, had he been in that middle, and I believe my right back would have been Kyle Walker there, so Kyle Walker wasn't to be seen. Maybe he was pushed up a little too far. I wasn't exactly sure where he was, but we very much paid for that one mistake, and that makes it 2-0. And I just really wanted a you know, an away goal, and quickly that was made 3-0 by the big bad man there, Zlatan Ibrahimovic. And at this point, I was absolutely gutted. You know, we'd really fluffed up this away tie, and potentially fluffed up our chance to go through to the quarterfinals. You know, we at least needed one away goal to make things slightly better, to even give us a hope, a slither of hope at going through. Unfortunately, that came in the form of Sturridge's right foot there, as late on in the game he pulls one back to make it 3-1. That, you know, that's not the result I wanted. You know, I definitely wanted to keep it 1-1, 2-1 maximum, and of course maybe even a win in my way. So it's going to be very interesting to see how we perform, how well we do when it comes around to the second leg. Of course, the second leg is at our home at Anfield. So we're going to have that game. We also have the FA Cup, I believe, against Reading coming up. But guys, like I said, a huge thank you for all of the support on my career mode videos. They have truly been immense. I can't thank you guys enough. Hope you guys are all have a cracking day. Hope you guys, you know, it was probably your first day back at school since the Easter holidays have been. So I hope it wasn't too rough. And yeah, just get into that career mode goodness. And I'll see you guys in a little bit. Bye-bye.